All right, we'll begin. Thank you, everyone, for joining us around the world. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Pooja Sood, and I'm super delighted to host this session with you today. It's great to see such a diverse and global audience joining us today, including clinical operation leaders, trial managers, and even the transformation teams who are exploring how an AI-driven eTMF can move beyond simple document storage to actually drive clinical excellence and inspection readiness. Today's discussion is all about turning AI from a buzzword into a real world clinical value, specifically, how organizations can solve the pain of manual eTMF management and transition to a model of continuous inspection and readiness. Now, before we begin, just a quick housekeeping notes to ensure that you have a great session with us. This session is recorded, right? And we will be posting a copy of this session on our website, our YouTube channel, and we'll also be emailing it to you. All participants are currently muted, just so we have a good audio experience for everyone. However, if you have any questions, you can either drop them in the Q&A panel right on the bottom of your screen, or you can also drop your questions in the chat. Of course, if anytime you have an issue, technical issue, please raise your hand. Let us know if there are any interruptions. Our team will promptly help you. Lastly, thank you once again for joining us, and we are super excited to have you here. Moving on to the agenda, we'll do a quick overview of who we are as Cloudbase and our speakers. We'll cover the eTMF challenges, identifying why eTMF still feels broken despite digitization. We'll also explore why traditional eTMF models can't scale and understanding the limitations of human-only manual workflows, how an AI eTMF agent helps, and then why embedded AI matters versus bolted-on solutions. We'll also then cover AI-driven eTMF excellence, and then we'll do a quick live demo of our AI eTMF agent, and then we'll just conclude the session with a live Q&A section. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's speakers. I'll just come back to our Cloudbase slide. So we first have Archit Pathak, who's our Senior Product Manager for AI at Cloudbase. He works very closely with sponsors and CROs around the world, shaping Cloudbase product roadmap with a deep understanding of protocol complexities, AI-driven automations, and real clinical workflows. We also have Tuneet Das with us. He's our Life Sciences Solutions Manager and has been partnering with clinical teams across the globe to translate operational challenges into scalable technology outcomes with the focus on AI adoption, feasibility, site selection, and study startup acceleration. Together, they bring a wealth of hands-on experience from the industry and will walk us through both the strategy and practical application of AI. And now we dive into a quick introduction around Cloudbase eClinical. We are one of the fastest growing cloud-based eClinical systems natively built on the Salesforce platform. What makes Cloudbase unique is that we offer a unified eClinical suite, meaning your data lives in one system of record rather than fragmented silos. Our solution helps customers conduct clinical trials efficiently to bring life-saving therapies faster to market. Our unified suite includes the CTMS, which is our end-to-end clinical trial management, the EDC, which is our rapid electronic data capture, the eTMF, which will also be one of the focus for today's session, our electronic trial master file, the CTMFM, which is a budget management tool, and then safety and pharmacovigilance to monitor and report safety events. In the past 2 years, Cloudbase has taken a bold step towards clinical AI transformation through our AI Innovation Lab. We have introduced specialized accelerators. The focus of today, right, which is the eTMF AI agent, will go deeper into that. Our speakers will take you through that. Apart from that, we have ClinExtract AI, which is our AI-powered data and entity extraction from unstructured trial documents. ClinTranslate AI, which is our medical document translation. These AI-driven solutions are already helping organizations significantly reduce protocol review cycles, accelerate study configuration, and shorten activation timelines without compromising quality or compliance. Otherwise, Cloudbase is recognized by the Everest Group's eClinical Solutions Peak Matrix, the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing private companies in America, and among the top emerging pharmacovigilance startup to watch in the US ecosystem. We are headquartered in Chicago, USA, with our regional offices in Toronto, Canada, and a delivery center in Bengaluru, India, which enables us to follow the sun support for global clinical development teams. Our platform is built for rigorous compliance and quality, including FDA 21 CFR Part 11, GCP, GDPR, HIPAA, and ISO 9001 and 27001 certification. But most importantly, Cloudbase exists to partner with organizations such as yours to not just be a technology vendor, but also be a co innovation collaborator. We believe study teams shouldn't have to choose between speed, quality, of compliance. They can have all three with the right technology and intelligence. And so, without further ado, if you need more information or you want to schedule a personal demo, you could always reach out to our team on info@cloudbase.com, or you can drop us a message by visiting our website www.cloudbase.com. Now, with that, let's get started. I'll now hand it over to Tani. Tani, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Pooja, for that wonderful introduction and sharing details about CloudBiz and our products. As you guys would have already seen, and we are doing some fantastic work in the space of AI, and have come up with agents as well as our standalone solutions. And I would now like to take the discussion forward by talking about the challenges that we face today in the in the application in the eTMF applications and in document filing, and correspondingly how are we leveraging AI agents to overcome those. Once I'm done with the slides that I have under me, I would hand it over to Archit, and he would walk you through a live demonstration of the product. So basically, it would be an interplay between the functional details that I share over the slides, and then Archit takes it forward through the solution that we've actually set up for you, which you can also kind of have a very personalized demo once if you're interested to take things forward with us. Okay, so coming to the first slide, it is titled as "Why Team Still Feels Broken," and to be honest here, let's just think a bit deeply for a moment. We all know that despite even more than a decade of digitization, managing eTMF has still remained a bottleneck in our clinical operations. In fact, industry studies that we have seen and researched have consistently shown that over 60% of inspection findings are still TMF related. And even when organizations are using the modern eTMF systems that we have today, so this kind of tells us something very important and critical, which is that the problem isn't with the access to documents and the technology that is available today, but then rather how the quality of the documentation is being managed using these systems. Now, in spite of the fact that most of the eTMF systems available are electronic, the work inside them is still deeply manual, and the quality in this case, oftentimes depends on the individual's experience of the document filing. Now, essentially speaking, inspection readiness, even at this time, is still reactive, to be honest, and and come the hour of inspections, the teams scramble to close out the milestones and kind of fill in the gaps that they might discover right at the time of inspection filing, in terms of missing documents or missing metadata, and finally kind of lead a very stressful few days before the final closure of the TMF can happen. So while the format essentially has changed, and we have made a leap from paper to digital, the operating model really hasn't changed all that much, if you really have to think of it that way. And I just leave you with this closing thought as I move over to the next slide. And where we are going to discuss in deeper details of the modern day challenges that the eTMFs face today. Okay, so in this slide we have tried to make things simple for you, and we have tried to basically bucket the challenges in three segments, which are operational, quality and compliance, and then bring in the most essential human factor. Operationally speaking, the teams, the TMF teams are still manually classifying documents and correcting metadata across studies, countries, and sites, or in whatever classification that they are managing their TMFs. And in fact, in global trials, it's really not uncommon to see that up to 30%, up 30% of the metadata has certain amounts and certain variety of inconsistency in them, especially when we are dealing when we are dealing with multi-vendor environments for clinical trials. Now, speaking from a quality and compliance standpoint, organizations have reported that nearly 40% of TMF issues were detected late, often during the internal audits or during the inspection preparation. Now, this is usually because there is the lack of a defined and detailed plan to maintain the TMF health, and no one is really keeping an eye out on the TMF and the filings as and when it is being done in real time. And then finally we come to the human impact, which is by far the most critical out here. So TMF teams all over the globe, where irrespective of the trials that they're doing, they feel overwhelmed at times, when the volume really gets critical and exponential. Reviewers spend a significant portion of their time, sometimes even 50% or more, on repetitive rule-based checks, and this oftentimes leads to burnouts. The team's productivity, as you might already guess, would certainly nosedive, and the overall experience of TMF professionals reach to a point where it gets very difficult to kind of continue with them in the same trial. So these are the challenges that typically exist in this space. And now that we have discussed, let us also look at how the ecosystem is changing and the ways in which the modern day eTMF along with AI agents must adapt to stay relevant. Okay, so what has changed today is not just technology, it is also the expectations around how the technology will be used to make things relevant and to accelerate the trial process. So, regulators now expect continuous inspection readiness and not just, end of study cleanups and, filing of the TMFs. Risk-based quality is, no longer, is no longer optional. Like that is, what we're trying to highlight as trend two here. FDA, along with other global bodies, including the, the European the Medicines Agency, along with other global bodies have increasingly set expectations from sponsors to demonstrate ongoing control over critical documents and not just manage the completeness of the documentation. And at the same time, while these two trends are kind of making life a bit difficult, there is also the trial complexity, which is kind of getting complex with each passing day and week. The average number of countries per trial, has significantly increased over the last decade, and decentralized trials or DCT trials, as we all know, are becoming mainstream, and accordingly, the document volumes per study also continue to rise year on year. And now to address all of these trends, basically we will need a revamp, or I would say a redesigning of technology. That is where AI comes in, and essentially, so to speak, AI is no longer a nice to have solution. It is rather a must have technological enablement that you should have in all of your systems, especially in such document heavy, operationally heavy processes, wherein rule driven workflows like eTMFs and rule driven workflows like eTMFs, wherein manual oversight by humans cannot really keep pace with today's trial complexity and scale. So that is how the ATMF landscape is kind of changing with each passing day. And before we move to the part where we talk about how AI is helping us to kind of meet these expectations, let us just take a quick step back and understand why the present day ATMF models and the solutions that we have can't really scale anymore to kind of get this done for us. Okay, so now if you really look at the present day ATMFs that we have, like if you really have to look at the process in which it works, speaking like say from a 15,000 point of 15,000 feet view, the humans will, or the TMF managers will upload documents, and then essentially it would be on the humans again to classify them. Finally, the QC is performed, and accordingly, as we understand, the human factor is very central and critical in terms of identifying the missing artifacts and accordingly getting those rectified as well. So now the issue that that really arises here is that as studies scale, the file volume will then start growing exponentially, as you can imagine, and with that, the run cost of the eTMF will grow as well, owing to the increasing headcount of resources that is needed for managing an eTMF. And in the midst of all of this confusion, while the sponsor is trying to strike a balance between the cost and volume, the speed of document filing starts to slow down as the volume of documentation increases. The quality accordingly, hand in hand becomes inconsistent, and finally, the compliance risk also increases while all of this is taking shape in the background. Now, in fact, many organizations, they don't really understand or realize that this is a risk until the day of inspection comes and the audit kind of exposes it. But then, the damage is already done. We are already kind of trying to kind of react to the problem that is at hand rather than preemptively, trying to kind of, prevent it from happening in the first place. And that is what we are trying to kind of fill in, like, that is the gap that we are trying to fill in by the use of our CloudWiz AI eTMF agent, which is the next slide, where we are going to discuss about it. Okay, so the CloudWiz AI eTMF agent is essentially is essentially an agent that is built as an embedded solution, or as an embedded tool within our CloudWiz eTMF solution. Now, the important distinction here is that it is directly embedded within our CloudWiz eTMF, which means that it's not a separate tool, not a plugin, or not another system that needs to be validated. The AI eTMF agent can act simultaneously as an intelligent intake assistant, a real-time QC analyst, and basically a monitor to track the completeness and the timeliness of your the filings that you do for the trial master file. So what fundament so basically as so basically once we are using eTMF, or the CloudWiz AI eTMF agent, what fundamentally changes here is that instead of having the humans, as we saw in the previous slide, constantly keeping a watch on the system and ensuring that it is correct and staying inspection ready at all times, the system has evolved to take care of that itself. It watches itself, and that is in fact the paradigm shift that we are talking of, really, from CloudWiz point of view, wherein the eTMF is moving from a reactive document management system and inspection readiness to a proactive one, where it will by itself ensure that it is at a constant state of inspection readiness at any point of time, as and when the documents are getting uploaded within it. So now, by doing this, what we are doing is that we are removing the inherent human limitation that exists in managing inspection readiness at exponential documentation scale. Okay, so that is kind of what we wanted to like what I wanted to convey as introducing the AI eTMF agent, and Archit, my colleague here, who's also on the webinar, will do a fine job in terms of showing you in real time how it works. But before we go into the demonstration, let me go to the next slide, where we talk of the workflow in which the AI eTMF works. But then this is at a very high level, and we'll just try to stick to the broad the functional aspects here. Okay, so kind of so basically to start off things, there is the first step is the document intake process, wherein the documents arrive from the CRO sites, vendors, or from any third party, or from the place where the clinical trial is happening. And automatically the AI agent, the CloudWiz AI agent, will automatically classify the artifacts by zone, section, subtype, and or any segmentation that you are coding into the system, and accordingly extract the critical metadata like the study, country, sites, dates, versions, etc. Whatever you are kind of enabling and configuring within the agent, it will kind of extract that critical metadata. And finally, as it is doing that, it will also ensure the quality and the completeness checks during this ingestion process, which will, again, I want to stress on the fact that this will be done in real time and not really weeks later, when it is the time for the actual inspection. And if something is missing, it will kind of, or is missing, or is inconsistent, or has been misfiled, it will flag instantaneously for the eTMF reviewer or the manager to look at, and finally make the corrections as needed. the Now, the most important point to notice here is that all of this is achieved without the humans ever ceding control to AI. And just wanted to repeat this once again, we are ensuring, as part of our solution, that the humans completely stay in control and are never ceding control of the AI. They are in loop, and that is how our agents have been built. Not just this one, but any agent that CloudWiz works on, we are firmly designing every agent to ensure that human decision making is kind of remains at the center of the entire solution design. Now, as now, so so what I'm trying to explain is that the humans remain in the core component of the loop, and the TMF managers can effectively focus on only the important parts, like the exceptions and the high risk artifacts that our AI agent will flag, and accordingly kind of fix those, rather than looking at the entire TMF health in its entirety, which kind of becomes kind of becomes a mundane task, and it will take a lot of his bandwidth rather than focusing on important items. Instead of him doing it, the system will itself continuously monitor the TMF's health and inspection readiness, and accordingly flag any, kind of irregularities as it sees during that process. Okay, so that is what I had in this slide. Moving to the next one, wherein we discuss about how where we broadly discuss about the core eTMF challenges that we are trying to solve with our AI solution. So what we have done here is that we have tried to map the AI capabilities that we have directly to the eTMF pain points, so that the value becomes very clear for you guys to understand. So manual classification is replaced by AI driven classification with confidence coding. Metadata errors are caught right at the point of ingestion, so that gaps are detected in real time rather than during an audit preparation weeks later. And with all of these benefits of the AI agent, the reviewer workload, as you can understand, drops by quite an extent. In fact, during a few of our POCs, we have typically seen that there is almost a 30 to 45% reduction in manual QC effort put in by the TMF teams. And this is because our agent had in fact helped our POC clients to kind of prioritize what truly needs human intervention, thereby expediting the entire documentation and filing process. So here, we are talking of AI-driven eTMF excellence, and now with all the AI-led transformations that we have discussed so far, these capabilities now come together to deliver very tangible benefits for day-to-day TMF operations, which we have highlighted below. First and foremost, speed improves dramatically, as we have explained in the previous slides. Tasks that manually would take days or weeks now can happen in minutes, driven by the efficiency of AI. And this kind of improves the overall efficiency of the TMF team as well, without continuously adding headcounts, and also increasing your subscription costs on a daily basis. Apart from this, the productivity increases as TMA professionals can focus on judgment, oversight, and risk management instead of having to do repeated checks on the TMF quality. So basically, in essence, quality then becomes a built-in factor of our eTMF AI agent enabled TMF solution, rather than being really inspected later. And this is when the compliance of the entire solution and the ecosystem shifts from being reactive to a more even based, proactive, and system driven process that kind of takes the lead in terms of flagging concerns and irregularities in the TMF filing, and ensuring that the human presence is accounted for only for critical operations where the human judgment is needed. Okay, moving to the next slide, where we kind of re-emphasize on the human in the loop concept, which, as I said, is critical to any solution or any AI solution that we build. Okay, so like, just to re-emphasize on the fact that like, our AI tools that we have, it is not really about removing the humans from the entire process of whether it is TMF management or from the study process. It is rather but it's rather to enable them with the power of AI. So the our principle is simple in this aspect, like wherein the AI will assist, and the humans will kind of decide and take the final decisions in terms of what needs to be where, and how the inspection readiness is kind of guaranteed. The automation we have coded is governed by confidence thresholds. Every AI action is fully traceable, and our system ensures that clear audit trail exists for regulators, and governance rules are configurable to match any and every organization SOP that you have. So with this, you get the speed and consistency of AI without ever losing transparency or control of the system, at any point of time. Like, why are we stressing on having an embedded AI solution? Particular reason why we have gone ahead with the approach of having an embedded AI solution within the eTMF, the cloud-based eTMF solution. If you have an embedded AI agent available within the tool, within the pre-existing tool, it kind of shares the same study milestones, workflows, context as the original eTMF solution itself. So essentially, there is no data duplication or any synchronization lag, nor are there any fragmented validations. You need not validate the system which you have already have. So basically, you get a unified data model. There is one system of record, better accuracy, because it is essentially one system. Faster decision making, given that it is a unified data model that we are referring to. And a significantly lower validation burden compared to systems where it is stitched together. Like basically, if you have multiple disparate systems which are integrated together, it becomes a much more complex entity to validate, rather than having a embedded solution within your pre-existing etmf tool, which is kind of the direction in which we are taking our ai solution, so that there is minimal change management that happens at your end, as well as we ensure that the technology intake, or the uptake of technology kind of remains very seamless for you from a cloud-based standpoint as well. Okay, so I will wrap up my section here with this final slide that talks of the future of eTMF, which kind of is autonomous quality. Now, as you might have already understood from the preceding slides that I have, so the future of eTMF is indeed kind of is kind of heading into a space where we will have self-monitoring TMFs, predictive quality signals, AI-driven prioritizations, and effectively having inspections done wherein there would be very minimal panic in terms of any irregularities showing up at the last moment. So basically, we are witnessing a shift from managing documents, um, only managing documents on the TMF, if I may say, to kind of having a continuously and controlled and intelligent TMF that kind of can take the process of can that kind of take over the process of doing the manual task of ensuring the quality and the consistency of the documents that are being filed, rather than kind of rather than making the humans do that activity, so that the TMF managers can only focus on the essential components and the critically flagged items that the AI is kind of letting them know of. Okay, so that is what I had as part of the presentation and the slide deck here. I know you guys are all geared up and are really interested to see the solution that we have for you next. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Archit to kind of give us a live demonstration of the solution we have.
Thank you, Tunir. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our AI webinar. As Tunir already mentioned, we'll just quickly take a look at how the solution works in action within one of our demo orgs. The solution is pretty straightforward. We have already had eTMF for quite some time, and we are currently working with a lot of customers on trying to see how AI can ease out the work and at least act as a preliminary and evaluator of the overall solution in terms of reviewing the documents and uh, performing a quality check, performing extracting certain metadata fields which are which are pretty easily extractable nowadays with availability of a lot of AI solutions. So this over here, what you see on the screen is our default eTMF landing page, which is where you see the most which is where you see the dashboards and all the reports pertaining to the eTMF for uh, eTMF solution, eTMF that you already have with details about all the studies, documents, empty folders, and stuff like that. On the top, you have all the options about related to the accounts, your different studies, your sites, and the eTMF itself. And over here on the left hand side, you have option to switch to different applications depending on what kind of permissions you have on the system. So let's say if you want to switch to CTMS or CTFM, finance management, or EDC, it's all available right over here with just one click of a button. Moving on, if I just quickly move to eTMF, this is how our eTMF looks like. So every time, whenever there's a study created, you get a eTMF folder created by default or the study, and the system comes pre-built, pre-configured with a couple of with a folder structure containing three levels of the TMF: the trial level or the study level, your country level, and the site level. And along with it, the DIA structure or the TMF DIA reference model is also pre-built within the application. We do have another holding area over here where you can keep all the documents, transient documents which are either being reviewed or just has been received from the sites, or different multiple sources. Now, if I just quickly going through the folders under study level, we have our entire DIA folder structure. Along with that, we have one additional custom folder which the system allows you to create. Again, but this is not part of the standard folder structure that the system provides. This is something that I've added, but you get the entire folder structure with all the three levels of the uh, uh, per the TMF reference model. Now, moving on to the today's solution, we have holding area. What I've done is I've uploaded a couple of sample files over here. You can just click on these files, quickly glance through the file, or update a couple of metadata fields if you want, or if it is already uploaded, you can just go through it and review it without actually opening the artifact detail page. Now, in order to automate the whole classification, how the agent works, basically, once we go to this particular artifact record, so if I click on this button, it will take me directly to the artifact record. I can see the enlarged view of the file, as well as all my metadata on the right hand side. Over here, we have a tab called Classification AI. When the file is first uploaded, you'll see a blank screen like this, and you'll have an option to either classify or, and a manual button. We'll come to this later on. So I'll just go ahead and hit classify for now. The file that I have taken for this is basically a TMF plan template uh, from the CDISC website. I'll just initiate this process. Parallelly, what I also have is a principal investigator resume. So let me start the classification of this as well. Now, what we are going to primarily see over here are four things. The system will take care of classifying the document, which you already see over here. The process is already completed. So it classifies the document, it extracts certain metadata, it can redact, it can extract or highlight PII tags or sensitive information on the document, and it can perform a high-level ALCOA check on the document itself. Now, on the top over here, what you see here is the classification result. So the system has identified this document as a trial master file plan, and per the TMF reference model, that it has identified that it belongs to Zone 1, Section 1.1, and Artifact 1.1.1, right? And along with that, it has also identified that this particular document should exist only at the trial level. Just below that, you will see there is a confidence score in the green. Which basically is a good news, which means that the agent believes that this is, it has a very high confidence level on the classification of the document. Now, along with that, you also have a reasoning section. This isn't a black box. It is a system. This is where the agent basically explains why it chose the classification, what signals it picked up from the document, the structure, the language, and a couple of other parameters. This is important for audit readiness as well, as you always have a proof of explaining or why a particular document ended up in a particular folder, right? So this always stays there on the record. Now, in this case, if you see here, it says this document is explicitly titled TMF plan template. So first thing it is doing is checking the file name, but at the same time, it also is checking the layout and matches the artifact purpose to describe how the records for trials will be managed, stored during and after the trial, including study-specific processes and documentation. The document contains all expected sections of a TMF plan, including oversight, responsibilities, content management, reviews, and archiving procedures. So even though the document's name said TMF plan template, but it can be misleading sometimes, so it just doesn't considers that. But it also goes to the document and actually evaluates the document's content and make sure that the document actually is what the name says. and not just you know uh, misrepresentation. So that again gets highlighted in case the document is named something, but the content is actually something else. Along with that, just below that, if you will actually see a section called alternate classification. So with every primary classification, the system will also predict an alternate classification with whatever confidence it has. So in this case, it has found that it matches roughly 25% of the document's content matches to the artifact operational procedure manual 1.1.5. And again, you have similar reasoning over here. But since the confidence was not high for this one, and it was pretty confident on the first reasoning, so it went ahead and chose the primary, chose trial master file plan as the primary classification. Now, as just below that, you'll see a section called for metadata extracted. So while it is classifying, since it is already going through the document, the agent also starts picking up certain metadata fields, so which come in handy to update your overall metadata associated to the document itself, so that you don't have to actually manually go in and update each and every field. Now, in this case, so it found that this document was version 2.0, and the document date was October 21, 2022. Now, for the document date, what it also suggests is basically where it is being derived, what date is driving the document, the dating convention as per the TMF reference model. So in the TMF reference model 1.1.1 base document dating convention mentions that the document date should be the version date. So it will give you a high level overview of that as well, so that if you have to manually review the file, you can actually go back to the file and find the version date and verify that the date is same or not. So in this case, the version date should be somewhere here, I believe. Version. Yeah. So version 2, October 2022, that is where it is getting the date from and the version number. Now I'll come to this 21 a little later once I've completed this. So we just wanted to show you a cool fallback mechanism as well. So that is why you see 21 over here. But we'll review this in a short while. Now, as part of the next section, what the agent also does is tries to look for any sensitive PII and PHI tags, like patient name, date of birth, social security numbers, medical records, medical record number, or any similar information which can be used to uniquely identify the patient. So in this document, since this was just a template, so it clearly identified that there is no sensitive data available in the document. Let's take a look at the other document that we uploaded. So this was the principal investigator file that we used to run the classification again on. So here, if you see, it has identified this as a principal investigator curriculum vitae, which is with 5.2.4, and this the TMF level is indicated as site instead of uh, trial over here, right? And as part of the extracted metadata, you can actually see what it has extracted is the protocol name, which is Vibrinix. The version number is 2.1, expiration date, study phase, and the principal investigator. Whatever it can find within the document, it will just automatically start showcasing them over here. And parallelly, what it also does is it calculates the number of pages, what kind of document it is. As of now, since we are only enabling support for PDF because of the sheer volume of PDF files that are uploaded. So that's where we are starting with. And eventually, we are planning to bring in more document formats as well, enabling it for doc files, Excels, and CSV files to begin with, and eventually going all the way down to uh, zip folder and bulk upload management as well. So not instead of just automating the extracting the metadata, what it has also done is it found what the metadata fields within the artifact record, and it actually updated them as well over here. So, for example, document version, total number of pages, document format, your expiry date. Now, this document did not have a document date, so that is why document date is missing. Otherwise, if it finds a document date, it'll go ahead and update that as well for you. And none of these files which are updated, or records which are updated, are automatically approved. That is something, because so instead of the agent controlling the approval and all, we keep it more to our, dependent to our we keep that control more towards the eTMF application itself, because of the sheer automation and workflow management flexibility that Salesforce provides. So from over here, we can control whether the files should be automatically approved. For example, you can set up a threshold that if the agent's confidence score is 98% or above, go ahead and auto approve the document. Or if the confidence score, the primary confidence score is less than, even to the mark, right, that let's say if it is less than 95%, go ahead and mark it for human approval. So that's where it can it can smartly figure out when to automatically approve a particular file, and when to mark it for further review required. All right, moving on. So coming back to our TMF template plan, again, it's found no sensitive PII, but in this case, it has found a couple of, in case of the resume, it has found a couple of sensitive information, like the provider's name, the email address, phone number, the license number, and address and institution. Now, this is pretty much configurable, so you can actually define what is the level of sensitivity you want to drive. Otherwise, the system already is trained on identifying the industry standard PII tags from the document, and it can automatically start identifying those on your behalf. In case you've missed something, the AI can act as a second reviewer. So let's say you're receiving a pre-redacted document from the site, but if they missed out on something, the system can again flag it. Or even if you are uploading any file and it needs certain redaction, that can this acts as a dual verification. Now this is connected to our clean redact tool, which we have covered in our previous webinar, so I won't go there. Now, when the for you can directly move this document to the clean redact solution, and it can redact all these informations automatically for you. Next, the last and final section that you see over here is basically the Alcoa quality check. Now, this is something that we are most interested in over here, because this acts as your preliminary reviewer of the document, and it takes care of a high level, sort of a pre-QC check uh, for each and every document that is uploaded. Now, what we are trying to achieve over here is Alcoa Plus, and not, I mean, we have, and in the future release, we'll extend it all the way to Alcoa Plus Plus. So for now, attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, and complete is what we are trying to, and sorry, consistent is what we are trying to achieve over here. As part of the system evaluates the document against these there are 17 specific quality checks, which are mapped, which basically derive each of the Alcoa's attributes. So, for example, for attributable, it basically checks whether the document has a proper author identification, proper signature authority, has the required signatures. For consistency, it checks whether all the pages are available in the document, if there is a missing page, or all the protocol number matches across all the pages, it is same, it's not misspelled or missed somewhere, dates make sense. So let's say if it is a resume, it's not 10 years old, or 2 years, or 4-year old resume, which can basically mark it as obsolete now. So along the same lines, as of now, we are highlighting each and every element of that we are covering. So basically, author identification, signature authority, legibility of the document, timestamps, whether the timestamps are valid, whether the document is marked as not marked, whether the document is marked as original, or if it consists some sort of draft watermark, or anywhere in the document it says that this is a draft document, if it is a certified copy or not, whether all the necessary, if it is, and if it is a original document and it is a final document, whether all necessary signatures are present. The page counts are proper, the protocol number is matching, the dates are dates make sense. And in the end, it will also mention a high level overview of, based on the Alcoa check, it will also mention a high level overview of the document's current compliance eligibility. So document, in this case, in case of the resume, it says document lacks required signature for PICV, contains confidential watermark, version 2.1 suggests not final version, otherwise complete, with proper identification and timestamp. And in the case of our previous document, which was the TMF plan, document is a template with placeholder text and instructional guidance, not marked as final version, contains approval signature tables, but no actual signatures since it's a template. So this is what we are trying to achieve. Now, a lot of this actually is uh, just to wrap up, to bring it all together. The moment when a document enters our system, the agent can smartly pick up the solution. It will first identify the PII tags and keep them aside. Make sure that no extremely sensitive information are passed on. The document then goes ahead and reads the content of the document, tries to classify it, extract the metadata, and assess it for the Alcoa compliance. All of this appears on a single record page in Salesforce, in our eTMF application, right inside the existing workflow, and seamlessly integrates with your day-to-day activities. Now, this whole process can be automated so that you don't have to manually come in and run the classification. So let's say on a daily basis, if you're receiving 50 or 60 odd documents in your holding area, the process can run in the backend. The agent can identify the documents within the study, also evaluate whether the document is belongs to the correct study or not. If at all there is a study or a site mentioned within the document somewhere, it can actually go ahead and glance through what is the root folder, what is the study associated to the folder, and also highlight that, hey, this document actually says it belongs to some other study, right? uh, Smartly, we can configure smart approval processes which can, depending on the confidence score, they can move the file automatically from holding area to the respective folder. So in this case 1.1.1, or in case of the resume, to the folder 5.2.4. But again, we want you to have that flexibility so that you are in control in terms of whether the agent just classifies and gives you the information, and then somebody goes ahead and reviews it, validates it, and then takes the necessary action. Or you want to set up a certain threshold when the agent can automatically determine that if it meets the certain criteria, go ahead and move the file automatically, notify the user, generate a report. Now, since I mentioned that all of this information is getting updated, so as part of our audit trail, all of the information that got updated by AI, or since it was initiated by my user, so within Salesforce, it says my user over here, and every field change that was made so far is actually audit trail. And for the interactions with the AI and whatever action the agent is taking, all those reports and audit trails are available via API. So in case those reports are needed over here in this platform, we can bring all that information here as well. So that's the goal here, is to basically move eTMF management from a reactive and a manual process to something that's proactive and consistent, but still, is smart enough to figure out that if it gets stuck or if it is not confident enough, bring in the hand it over to human for a review, and not take any coercive action, so that the document ends up in a wrong folder. So with that, I believe, I hope I've covered most of the things. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show. I hope you like the solution. We are actively working on the on enhancing the accuracy and achieving even higher confidence for most of the documents. So across the entire 250 artifacts that we have, the system is being tested for each and every folder, different types of documents, and the team is rigorously working on evaluating any error scenarios that there may be. So far, we are pretty. The confidence rates are extremely high, and that is one of the reason why we are releasing it per document type. So that's why we just wanted to make sure that PDFs are at least easier to process. So they are processed to the extreme accuracy we can achieve, and then you gradually move on and bring in other document types as well. All right, that's pretty much from my end. I hope you like the demo. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions, and I will hand over the call to Pooja. Pooja, over to
Thank you so much, Archit, and thank you so much, Tanir, for this for covering like the whole aspect. We have a bunch of questions, so I'm just gonna read it out. Our first question is: does the AI help you properly classify a document, and does it also upload it to the eTMF automatically, or do you need to upload it yourself? So, Archit, do you want to pick this up?
So yeah, the system currently it is being invoked via Salesforce, our eTMF. But so this is where, as I was showing you, we have the holding area. I'll just quickly pull up my screen once again. So if I go back to my holding area and my eTMF folder structure, so far what we are trying to achieve over here is have a single holding area where all your files come and sit together before they are actually moved, unless, let's say, you're working on a checklist, uh, you're working on a checklist and you are going there to mark the checklist as complete, or upload a particular file over there, because the system already supports uploading it directly to a eTMF folder from the checklist record itself. So if you're doing that, that's fine. Otherwise, you can just come up over here, put the document within the holding area, and once the processing is complete, so let's say you want to set it up to run automatically, the agent can run automatically every time a file is uploaded in a holding area, and it can automatically classify and move it to the classified folder automatically for you. Again, that's where the threshold control comes into action. So if you define a certain threshold, say in your case, you're a little flexible with AI making a little bit of errors. So let's say your tolerance level, all boils down to your tolerance level. If you can tolerate 95% accuracy, you can go ahead and set that. So anything above 95% will automatically be moved. Anything below that will be sent for human review. And let's say if the accuracy is extremely low, it will just hand over the document again to the humans, providing the reason why its accuracy is so low. So you'll always get a reasoning of and the accuracy, no matter what file you're uploading, and you can take an action based on that. Eventually, I mean, it would be the ideal situation to reach that position where the system can automatically upload it as well. Uh, we are planning to extend it using APIs as well, the whole agent, so that it can integrate with any of your data sources. So let's say your transient storage is Google Drive or SharePoint, so it can just connect to those data sources as well and start pulling those documents. But hopefully, we'll have it available in the coming future. I hope
Um,
that answers your question.
Well, do let us know in the chat. We'll look forward to your message. The next question is this AI approved and regulated at an international level?
Well, as of now, and Dinesh, feel free to chime in for this one. We don't have an international approval level. I don't understand exactly what you mean by regulated at an international level, but we are working with our validation and compliance team to validate the entire solution end to end. Dinesh, would you like to add something?
Certainly. Yeah, this is a great question, actually. So we are working with the regulatory guidelines which are being released recently from both FDA and EMA, and our solution, we are making our solution to be compliant with those regulatory guidelines. And internally also, we have our own compliance standards, which we have been following from the overall regulation standpoint. So our goal is to make sure that our solution is fully compliant as per the regulatory requirements.
Thank you so much, Dinesh. And I hope that answers the question. The next one from the same person. So they're saying, I understand that this AI also is able to detect poor quality in a document, such as missing signatures, incomplete content, or even duplicated documents, etc., right?
So duplicated document is something that we are. I mean, it depends on what kind of I mean, if you so it doesn't keeps a track of your entire folder. That is something that we might have to configure a little bit so that it can perform duplication check. But usually that is something that, again, the platform itself can control. We can have duplicate rules set up within the platform. But for the other part of the question, where detects poor quality of the document, so yes, it can actually detect a poor quality of the document, or let's say if the document is not scanned properly, it's not aligned properly, if it is an inverted document. So those kind of basic document quality analysis also it can do. And again, for the there is again little bit of how should I put it? So when it comes to actually detecting the poor quality of the document, how AI sees the document versus how humans see the document are two completely different things. There's a lot of time when what we have observed is, even though the document is, let's say, scanned with a very zoomed out resolution, AI was still able to read it, and it passed it as a good quality document, even though it was barely readable for a human. So those are a couple of scenarios which are extremely tricky. So that's something that our team is working on, increasing the accuracy of such caveats.
Well, thank you so much, Archit, and I hope that answers the query too. Another question is, how does it, how does this perform with complicated documents like a delegation of authority log?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting question. So we have, as I mentioned, across the entire 250 artifacts, we are currently trying to gather, as much data sets as possible and test out all possible document combinations that can be uploaded into an eTMF. It's extremely rigorous testing, and there's a lot of document that needs to be tested. So yeah, this delegation of authority log, it definitely is one of those. So what we are actually doing is we are actually incorporating a feedback loop as well. So let's say in this particular case, when we uploaded the TMF template plan, 21st October was not present, and the AI went ahead and still predicted this. But let's say since it was marked for human review, or somebody caught this, what I can actually do is when I hit reclassify, I can provide a feedback to the AI. I can just go ahead and say in human language, the document version date of 21st October 2022 is incorrect. Document never mentions exact date. Right. So what I can do is I can just write this as a feedback, and this feedback goes back to the AI, and AI takes this into consideration and then talks about it. Now, delegation of authority is a good stress. We have been testing extensively with similar documents. It and we have observed that it is still able to classify it properly. Perform a very high level Alcoa check, and that's where Alcoa check is having a lot of trouble, uh, especially in case of delegation of authority logs, because there are so many scenarios that needs to be tested. Uh, we did find a couple of bugs in the beginning, but we have taken care of all those items. And since the testing is still going on, we are definitely seeing much improved results for such complicated documents as well.
Thank you so much, Archit. I hope that answers the question for one of our participants. The next one is how missing documents can be tracked by AI.
Missing documents, as I said, the agent doesn't really tracks your entire folder right now. What we already have is we already have a dashboard, which over here, if I'm not sure if it is configured in this org, but uh, we do have other org which where there are proper data setup done. But we already have pre-built dashboards which keep a track of all your folders which are either empty or do not have sufficient documents within them.
All right. I hope that answers the question as well. I know we are already over time, but we are getting more questions, so we will we will cover those as well.
Mhm.
So we have two more questions, Archit, at the moment. So one of them is, I think you were just giving a quick overview of how the AI is identifying, like how AI is also making those mistakes. So the question is around that. So do you think the benefits of employing AI higher than the possible risks of finding AI mistakes?
Sorry, Pooja, can you repeat that question one again?
Do you
Question
think
once
the
again.
benefits of employing AI are
Mhm.
higher than the possible risks of finding AI mistakes?
I do believe yes, given that system is extensively tested, because eventually what happens is while you're, I mean, obviously it's basically like when you just start working with it. Uh, See, since these systems are tested from our end, we are, even though we are working with a couple of prospects on and partnering with them. So the data set that the system sees before it gets deployed to you is very limited, and every customer, what we have seen have their own workflows and process. So definitely the system will gradually understand your ways of working and what kind of things work and do not work for you. So in the beginning, proving the ROI from day one would is I would say is would be a little too much of a stretch. It takes time for any AI system, and that's what we have been seeing from last couple of years as well. People were rushing so much for AI, AI based solutions, that evaluating figuring out ROI was difficult because everybody wanted to see results from day one. But unfortunately, that's not how it works for most of the AI solutions, and expectations get shattered. I would say. So eventually, yes, while when the system learns, so imagine recruiting an intern and then grooming them to become a full-time employee for you. It takes a bit of a time. Here, the time period is less comparatively, but it eventually the responses start becoming much better and better.
Thank you so much, Archit, Dinesh, and Tuner. So we'll probably just now close the session. So we have more questions coming in, but we'll reach out to you separately and schedule a call. But thank you to all the people who stayed till the end. We really appreciate your time and attention today. And with that, we'll just close today's session. And if you have any more questions or you would like to explore more resources, you could always reach out to us at info@cloudbiz.com or visit our website www.cloudbiz.com. Thank you once again for joining us, and we definitely look forward to seeing you again for our next webinar next month.